I just want to welcome everybody today to our Board of Trustees Community Forum. My name is Sarah Wiltenberg. I was this year's Student Congress President. I'm just here to introduce everybody that will be speaking. I just do also want to remind everybody to make sure you go vote on May 5th for all of our candidates who are running. And also just wanted to let everybody in the audience know the note cards that you have, if at any time during this forum you have a question, go ahead, write the question right on the note card, send it down to the end of the row, and those will be asked towards the end of the forum today. We do have everybody sitting in alphabetical order, so that's the order that we will be going in today. First we have Robert Bennett, then we have Ellen James, Nadine Klein, Richard Ryskamp, Ken Smith, Richard Verburg, and Milinda Ysasi. Everybody is going to get 5 minutes to have an opening statement, and I just want to remind everybody to talk right into the microphone so everybody can hear you. And to let everybody know that all of the candidates' biographies will be posted online after today's forum. So if you missed anything or just want to double check up on anybody, you can do that. That will all be posted on the GRCC website. So we will start with Robert Bennett.
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me. I've lived in the Grand Rapids area for my entire life, except for about 2 years of a vacation courtesy of Uncle Sam back in the 60s. I'm an alumnus of GRCC. I've since got my bachelor's degree in information science and a master's degree in organizational management. I love education. I volunteer at several different schools. I teach junior achievement. I've taught second graders how to use technology. I've taught reading instructions, volunteered in several areas. I also teach in the Sunday school. I teach 2-, 3-, and 4-year-olds in the Sunday school, in the church I attend. I currently work at GE Aviation Systems. I've been there for 32 years, even though the company hasn't been named that for 32 years. Formerly was Smith Aerospace, and before that, Lear Siegler. Currently, I'm a technology manager. I do projects for our department, technology projects, process improvement projects, things like that. I'm running as a candidate because I want to serve my community. I have 15 years experience in the policy governance manual process. I served on the Wyoming Public Schools Board of Education for 15 years. And I think I can hit the ground running if I get elected. My philosophy of education is that it's a cornerstone to building this community again. No matter whether a student is just starting out, transitioning from high school, there's a career change, life experience, or just to enrich their lives. I think education is key. And I want to help Grand Rapids Community College continue to grow and be a key part of rebuilding our community. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Ellen M. James. The M is for Marie. Let me begin first by thanking all of those who put this forum together for us this afternoon. I would like to thank the citizens of this community for allowing me to serve you for 17 years. And I can't tell you how wonderful that feels to be a part of such a distinguished group of people that I'm serving with. I would be remiss if I did not thank the faculty and staff for their tireless work in making GRCC a national recognition institution of higher education. As I mentioned earlier, I've served on this board for 17 years, and in many ways, it has been like a child to me, but my child is growing up and has grown tremendously, and that makes me very, very proud. Because we, again, are nationally respected all over the country, and countless wonderful things that we have done, many examples of greatness. One such example I'd like to share with you very quickly, and I'm under the timeline. If those who know me, you know I can be long. One of the people that I met at this college was a young woman who came to us not through the traditional way, but through the Learning Corner on Wealthy. She just stopped in one day for a quick stop, and just by the wonderful work of the staff, she decided to stay on and get her GED. From there, she came to the college and became very active. She had a great singing voice, but she was allowed to develop that voice. She then went on to Italy for the summer to study, and now she's at a very prestigious college in the West, a performing arts college. She's doing great. So I'm so excited about that, and that is one story of why I'd like to continue to run. There are countless people out there who would not have the opportunity were it not for Grand Rapids Community College. And I truly believe that everyone should be given the opportunity to achieve their educational goals and lead a productive life. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Nadine Klein, and I have the disadvantage of being alphabetically challenged, having to follow Ellen James in her almost 18 years of service on the board. Other than that, I'll go on and introduce myself. I am an assistant city attorney for the city of Grand Rapids. I've been a practicing attorney for almost 20 years. I think this November will be 20 years. I chose Grand Rapids as my home after law school. I'm a Midwestern girl. I was born in Columbus, Ohio. We moved to Illinois when I was in high school. I went to college in Michigan at Hillsdale College. Then I went to law school in Indiana to Valparaiso University School of Law. So I went all over the Midwest pretty much, except at least these 4 states, and chose Grand Rapids. And I absolutely love Grand Rapids. From the time I got to Grand Rapids, I became involved in the community. My first endeavor in the community was working with the Young Lawyers Board. I eventually served as the vice chair and the chair of that board, and we trained new lawyers, orientation sessions. We did hosting events for when the new lawyers got sworn in, and we did a lot of educational things and worked with closely with the so-called senior bar, which I'm now a part of course. And I'm running for office because I love our community. I find it to be a great place to live and to work and to socialize. I have 3 children, all boys. They're aged 11, 9, and 7. So I have a very vested interest in making sure our community is a wonderful place to live and prosper. My leadership experience includes 4 years on the Kent County Board of Commissioners. I became a commissioner in January of 2005 and lost my reelection bid this past November. So my last day was December 31st. And I loved that experience because it also was a very community-based organization. As a commissioner, I learned all about policy governance and learned how to lead the leaders. The commission is 19 leaders in the community who are represented throughout Kent County by their district. I also learned a lot about different committees and different organizations in our community. I was the chair of the Network 180 board, which is the community mental health board, and that's probably my proudest thing that I did on the commission. It was helping our most needy citizens, and it was just a great experience. I learned a lot, and it was a lot of work because there was usually a pack about 1.5 inches, 2 inches of material we had to read every 2 weeks. I also have been involved in the Grand Rapids JCs in my earlier years, and in the JCs we had a saying of leadership through community service. And you would learn leadership skills through putting on community services such as the Santa Claus Parade, the Christmas shopping tour, the First of America Golf Classic that went through several name changes. So I have a lot of community experience. I'm well known in the community by both citizens and public officials. And I'm very interested in serving as a GRCC trustee because I think education is the key to a successful community, a successful society. GRCC serves the full spectrum of students from those attaining wanting to finish their GED and through honors programs. There are technical programs, culinary arts, manufacturing. I just think it's a wonderful place where everyone can learn to be their most productive and to have a lot of self-worth and self-confidence in what they do. I think GRCC is a wonderful place. It's a huge asset to our community, and it would be an honor and privilege to serve as a GRCC trustee. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Richard Ryskamp. I'm one of the 3 Richards who are running for the board. I want to thank you all for coming. Thank you to the organizers also for putting this together. Who am I? I'm a 53-year-old physician practicing in intensive care. Been married for 18 years. I have 2 sons, ages 12 and 16. I am not from Grand Rapids, but visited here every year, every summer, as I was growing up because my parents had roots in this area. When I was young, I decided I'd like to live here. And my first opportunity, I did. After I graduated from medical school in 1983, I came here and did my residency. After that, I left Grand Rapids. I had to go in the Army. I served there for 4 years in Germany, honorably discharged. I returned to Grand Rapids 12 years ago. For the past 2 years, I've only been working in the hospital half-time. And that's in order to give more time to my other interests. The main one is education. I'm now a part-time faculty member, clinical assistant professor at the College of Human Medicine at Michigan State University. I've also done some part-time teaching at our son's high school, teaching chemistry and health last year, and doing some substituting this year. So I know what it's like to teach. I know what hard work it is. Other relevant experience, I've served my hospital on numerous committees and as director of the intensive care unit. I've served my church as elder, as member of multiple committees, chairman of multiple committees, and as member of the executive committee. Why do I want to serve on the Board of Trustees? The answer is the next generation. Specifically my sons. Soon they will be old enough to attend here, and it seems to me it would make a lot more sense to start doing something for GRCC before they get here, rather than wait until after they're done. But will they attend GRCC? Well, if I get elected, they may not have a choice. But even if they don't attend here, it's still important for them and for the other youth of our community that GRCC be served. With 25,000 students, GRCC has a huge impact on the character of our community. And that's the community that my kids and your kids will be shaped by GRCC. I believe that it's the role of the trustees to keep the college focused for the good of the community. I believe that board can serve the community best if it has representation from all segments of the community. I'll come out and tell you up front that I'm old-fashioned, social conservative, and although that segment of the community is passionate about education, in most places it's underrepresented in the halls of higher learning. I believe that GRCC will benefit from a board with a diversity of ideas, and I believe that I will be a voice reminding us of the heritage that has provided this nation and this community so many blessings. Thank you.
My name is Ken Smith, and I'm a retiree from our college. I'm very proud to have been a member of it for 31 years before my retirement. And during my 31 years at the college, I developed and taught an automotive job training program. I came out of retirement, put my name up for candidacy for the Board of Trustees because it's the time for me to donate the expertise and experience and knowledge that I have about job training and job retraining. With the economy in the slide that it's in and the ever increasing job unemployment that's occurring here, especially in our state, the need is great for job training and job retraining, and that's my field of expertise. When I took the job with the college, I started the automotive technology mechanic training program. I developed the program and developed the ties with the industry that we taught to. One of the things that I firmly believe that can be used to our advantage here is further developing the ties to the industry we teach to. I immediately got in touch with the people from General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler, who in turn provided us with technology, training vehicles, tools, information, and other assistance that we wouldn't have been able to get in any other way to successfully teach the job training program that I did. I'm once again very proud to be part of the college here, and the reputation they have, that would be one of my objectives, is to do everything in my power to maintain the quality of education and the reputation it's produced for the college. And we can owe that in large part to the faculty and staff and administration and the Board of Trustees for having provided the support to the faculty, particularly in the academic and arts programs. Now, we have probably in the past had some difference between the academic side and the vocational training side, but I see no reason why we can't complement each other. An auto mechanic, for example, has to have a strong background in physics in order to practice his trade, and on in that area. So I think a collaboration between and a cooperation between all areas of the college can benefit everyone in the college. I see that there's a window of opportunity right at this point for the college to expand and improve. There's been $100 billion from the economic stimulus package directed to colleges for education. And there is even $5 billion has been set aside to reward those colleges that excel. And I think that we probably could qualify for that with the quality of people we have working here in this college. My background, in addition to working for the college for 31 years, I worked in an automotive dealership, first as a technician, service consultant, and then a service manager. So in that position, I was able to get the contacts that I was able to use to advance my training program here. The model that I developed for job training is used to this day over at the MTech with their various programs. Community service, I served for 8 years on Chrysler Corporation's arbitration board. Currently on the Board of Trustees of the church that I attend, and I've served on various advisory committees and hosted and helped develop the VICA Skills USA programs, hosted them for a couple of years, and also served as an advisor in development of the state certification tests. I believe that as a community college, we have the responsibility to provide the training and education for the people of our community so that they can realize their goals in life. Thank you.
My name is Richard W. Verburg. Graduated from Aquinas College in 1986, where I majored in communications. Graduated in 1970 from Granville High School. Part of my work history, I worked for Granville Public Schools for 3 years in 70 to 73 as a custodian. Same time I was going to Grand Valley, similar to our students, a lot of whom are working their way through college. A few years later, I worked at Rapistan a couple of years as a sales services specialist. Now it's known as Dematic, is the name of the company now. And then 76, 77, I worked for Retail Grocery Inventory Service as an inventory specialist. 1978, I began working at General Motors as a production technician, and in 97 to 99, I worked as an area leader. In 2004 to 2006, as an area leader and safety trainer. Currently, I'm an independent contractor with CTA. Community activities in 1995, 1996, I was chairperson of the United Auto Workers Citizenship and Legislative Committee with Local 730. Also, I served as a lector and Eucharistic minister at St. Pius Church for a number of years. 2001 to 2003, I was treasurer of Curcio Diocese of Grand Rapids. From 2003 to present in community service, I've worked as a volunteer at Curex Prison Ministry, and found that the inmates there and the reverends say the same thing, sometimes know the Bible better than the reverends do. They have a lot of time to study it, but found that to be a very interesting experience. Elected to the Board of Trustees, 97, served as board secretary 1997 to 1999, was reelected in 2003 and served as board secretary 2005 to 2007, and served as a board liaison to the strategy team 2003-2009, and board liaison to the MTEC 2007 to 2009. I have 4 children, 2 of whom are graduates of GRCC, one of which was a student congress president, and she taught at Holy Name School for a few years, and now after her first child, she's substitute teaching and teaching employees at Spectrum Spanish. So she's being of service in that way. And my son graduated from here a few years ago. He's at Central as a senior now. He's vice president of his fraternity, and he's going to be going into special education, emotionally impaired high school, also a history major. So it's kind of a family thing for me. My dad did his tool and die apprenticeship courses at GRCC, and 2 of my wife's sisters are alumni, one of which is an artist. She does hand paintings on Christmas bulbs, ornaments, and that's kind of her business. She helps support the family. And the other sister has an office job at AT&T. But that's the family part. And I'll move along. Statement of candidacy or rationale. From being a working person 38 years, I think I'm representative of many of the families of community college students. I think because I've been a working person all those years, my point of view can be different from those who've had careers in education and administration. But I deeply, similar to several of the candidates here, I deeply realize the necessity of workforce development, being a part of the workforce for all those years. But also, I say equally significant is moving the college ahead in quality and academic excellence. And the final one, these are ends of our college, these 2. This will be my 3rd end of the college that I think is very vital, is community partnerships. And I think many of you know that's showing up more and more. So I think that's the community partnerships is the key to expansion of Grand Rapids Community College offerings in West Michigan. And that keeping that triad, those 3 goals, I think are the 3 most important ends to me for the college. I'd like to keep that before the Board of Trustees and the community, if reelected.
Good afternoon. My name is Milinda Ysasi, and first off, I just want to thank my fellow candidates and 2 incumbents for signing up to be on the ballot. So many times these elections of GRC Board of Trustees or school board don't generate a lot of interest, and I want to thank you all for being here as well. But why I want to run for Grand Rapids Community College is when you look at the mission, and it talks about helping to enable people to achieve their goals, and I really feel that I've been able to achieve the goals that I've wanted to in my life, and I think that there's a whole bunch of other goals that I'm hopefully going to achieve, hopefully becoming a trustee. And I want to be part of that because I think the college, the Board of Trustees that's in place now, past leadership as far as presidents and things like that, have been very instrumental to making an impact on people's lives. I also want to continue the tradition that I think GRCC has had of an inclusive environment where people can come as they are to learn, to not be judged, to feel like part of a community, to create relationships, because I really feel that that's what your life is about. You're creating these relationships to have this end result of these goals that you want. I also think that the college is going towards trying to be very sustainable, which I think is very important. A little bit about me. I work at Cascade Engineering and Human Resources, and I've worked there for the past 10 years, starting out as an intern after my first year at Grand Valley State University. Got the call to go in as a student, didn't know anything about manufacturing, had never been on a plant floor, if you will, was scared out of my mind. I'll tell you that. There's forklifts coming at me. But today I feel a great sense of pride of that organization. Fred Keller, our owner, CEO, is a real standout in our community, and his commitment, and I think his commitment to the college, and then the college in turn supporting us, has been very important to this region. Secondly, something else that I'm very interested in, and I think that the college could have a hand in, and maybe having a hand in, are just some other social issues that are plaguing our society. Most dear to my heart is the issue of prisoner reentry. When we look at people coming out of the state and we look at how much the state is putting in to prisons and thinking that money could be put into our education, and how can GRCC help bridge that reentry of citizens as they try to find work for themselves, whether it be in a sustainable renewable energy field or the automotive industry or public service or anything like that. And I really feel that the college is positioned to be working on those root causes rather than placing Band-Aids on issues. Secondly, I guess more about me. Somebody came up to me and said, "I saw you in the paper. Did you place that engagement announcement there right before the election for free press?" I did have to pay $25 for that, so it wasn't really free. But I'm not married. I'm getting married in the next month, and very very much looking forward to my life as a married person, and hoping to start a family here in Grand Rapids, and going to be moving there on the northeast side after I'm married. But I'm also involved in many other things. There's some people out in the audience, lots of that I've seen come in and whatnot. I really think that there's a lot of big footsteps to fill. Lots of people who've given their life, their time, their energy, time away from their families, and I see some of you out there. And I really just think that that's an example, and I see some of you at the table as well, all of you here. And I think it's important that we take that step forward if we're willing and able to be part of the solution. But some other things about me: I've been a fellow for the Michigan Political Leadership Program, which is through MSU. I serve on the Grand Valley State University Board of Directors. I was the membership chair for the League of Women Voters. I actually worked with Miss Ellen James with the Proactive group, which helped to try to keep people's rights to votes in place in this past election, which was great, and I know some of you else were involved in that. Latino Youth Conference here at GRCC, I've been a part of that. And most recently was the chair for the Hispanic Center of Western Michigan Board of Directors. So I hope you can see that I have a real strong commitment as I look to place my roots here with my future husband and my past experience with the community. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, candidates. Next, I would just like to introduce our moderator. Our moderator today is Tamara Scott, who is a Communication Studies professor here at GRCC. So I'll hand the mic over.
Thank you, Sarah. All right, for our first question, why don't we start with Milinda Ysasi down at my left.
I'm done talking, though. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, and the first question is, please discuss opportunities for future growth here at Grand Rapids Community College.
Well, I have to say, I'm a Grand Valley graduate, but I did spend quite a bit of time here during my 4 years at Grand Valley. Mostly because there was a good connection between those universities. And I would have to say learning more about the college through I know Kathy's out there somewhere setting up breakfasts and learning more from the trustees and willing to share that information. So one of the things was very interested to hear about the campus out and the classes out in Holland. And I think that as we look at future growth, looking at a regional perspective, obviously we're called Grand Rapids Community College, but many of you alluded to in your initial bios the regional reach of the college. So I think it's going to be very important to not say, you know, we're only part of Grand Rapids. We're the central city, and that's very important. But understanding the needs and the different individuals in different areas. As I talked about before, I think GRCC has a really good handle on understanding the niches of different communities, different students that are coming in, different professions that we're talking about. Talking about the automotive industry and how some people feel it's declining, and that's the industry that I work in today, and I don't want to hear that. I want to hear that it's changing to become a sustainable, renewable energy industry, and I want GRCC to be a part of that training. So I think the growth will be needed as we're talking about the economy going down and people needing to get retrained. So I would go for some growth in a whole regional area, and like to hear from the stakeholders and mostly students and those who would be attending.
Thank you. Next, Richard Verburg.
Well, when we think about the future growth of GRCC, community partnerships, one of the ends, I think that's the key thing. When you go to the west side next to the Catholic Basilica there and see the John Whitcomb factory renovated with classes, that's. You better turn this. Maybe you didn't hear me. I think one of the key ends of the college right now is community partnerships, and I think when we talk about satellite classes, lots of times we think of, I think of more classes in the area high schools, and more classes that you take in high school, and you could carry some of those right across to community college. Also, of course, we do have the Learning Center on Wealthy and the one on the west side, John Whitcomb, renovated with classes. So that there is a national model, actually. People are looking at that all across the country, and that's, of course, the work of our faculty administration here, bringing those things forward. So that, to me, that's one of the key things. And in an era where dollars aren't quite as prevalent as they once were, community partnerships, to me, that's one of the keys for future growth.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Please remember to speak right up into the mic, and our next is Ken Smith.
Well, I think future growth for the college is a no-brainer. We have so many opportunities to expand the various programs that we have here. We're very well poised to expand the job training programs, for example. And this is, once again, my area of expertise, and this is why I feel I'm the perfect fit for a position on the Board of Trustees, is the experience and knowledge I have in excuse me, in how to build a program closely tying ourselves to the industries that we teach to. Now, at the same time, this teaching, the programs we have need to be relevant. There's no point in advancing programs if there are no jobs out there to provide them with when they're done with their training. So we need to be very firm and sure that the programs we develop are going to provide jobs for the students when they're done. I'm also very concerned about the cost of education. If I'm on the Board of Education, or rather the Board of Trustees of this college, one of the things I'm going to work on would be to keep student costs low and to a minimum so that our students can benefit from the programs without deeply indebting themselves. Once again, I think with a spirit of collaboration and cooperation within the various areas of the college, that we have lots of room for growth, and there's going to be money available to us through this $100 billion that our administration is providing for education. Thank you.
Thank you. And next is Richard Ryskamp.
I'd like to echo what was previously said about the geographic regional satellite campus opportunities for Grand Rapids Community College. I think that's an excellent way of reaching the outer areas of the county which may feel a bit out of touch with the community college. However, I think the expansion of the community college is going to be limited by funding, which is the next question. So I think the community college has to be extremely careful about choosing the right areas to expand. And as Mr. Smith said, expand in areas where there are jobs. And I would also add to that, expand in areas where there may not be other colleges that are churning out people with this adequate numbers of people with the same qualifications. And finally, I would say an important factor is that the study be relevant in the sense that people in the community would all agree that that's a useful course of study. For example, my wife teaches Dutch, but I don't think that most people in the community would really see that there's a real advantage to the community to teaching that, even if there were jobs available. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next is Nadine Klein.
Thank you, Tamara. I guess I'm going to sound like a broken record. I think that satellite offices and a regional approach are the way to our future growth. We are already touched seven counties, including Kent County, for the KISD school districts. Those are our boundaries, and I was very surprised to find out that we were in other places other than Kent County, even though I knew about the Holland office. I think satellite offices are the way to go. And we can combine, to try to keep costs down, we could combine with other facilities, maybe high schools or other schools, and use their facilities for night programs and things like that. I think reaching out to high school students is very important, either to make sure that they understand what's available at community college, what types of programs they can enter and learn about. Also, the honors program. I know that some high school students already take classes at GRCC that they can transfer either to GRCC or other colleges, and I think that's a fantastic way to help our young people reach their full potential. And I also think we need to work on the workforce retraining and development. We need to look at the people who are being laid off and see what we can do to get them retrained and ready to get back into the workforce as soon as possible, and help companies make it more profitable, be in business, so they can not lay off so many people. Last thing, I think we need to keep it affordable and continue the great community partnerships that we already have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And next is Ellen James.
It's already been said, but let me restate it from my lips to your ears. I think it has to be about partnerships. It has to be about partnerships. It has to be about partnerships. Last year, we trained over 600 companies who came to us and said, we want our employees trained. Okay, that was an opportunity for us to work with these particular companies. It is also important, I think, for citizens to understand that Grand Rapids Community College does not just serve Grand Rapids. While I'm out campaigning very hard to be reelected, I talk to people outside of Grand Rapids, and I give them my literature, and they say, can I vote for you? Or, I can't vote for you. And I said, of course. Are you in Kentwood? Are you here? Absolutely. You can vote for me. So I think we have to do a better job of education in terms of people knowing that Grand Rapids is not just within the Grand Rapids area. I think we have to have a quick response to what is happening in our community. Right now, we're looking at an economic downturn. And with that, I think Grand Rapids Community College has responded beautifully. We have been able to offer programs very quickly, a very quick turnaround, which four-year institutions cannot do. So it is important for us to continue offering as many response classes as we can. Some of the ones that we've been beneficial in getting involved in was the film industry and medical assistance. And we've just adopted a program which totally, I can't remember the name of it, but it's in collaboration with the 28 other community colleges. And we're going to be working where we're going to be training companies.
You can always finish your sentence.
I do as I'm told in this instance.
Okay, and our last candidate for this question is Robert Bennett.
I'd like to reiterate several things already that have been said. Regional schools are very important to get the focus. Dual enrollment to get high school kids introduced to the college experience. Partnerships, currently they're very, very active in partnerships, and we have to help us grow. We have to be aggressive at trying to find other ones. I believe technology could help expand the offerings for the community college. Online courses, it's a great way to expand. Another instance is we need to communicate to the community how much and how great the return on investment is for their millage when they come up. I mean, this institution is just so very, very important to this community, and providing all the examples that everybody else has already stated. It's so key, and it's a great return on investment, and we just need to communicate that over and over and over again to the community. We're a great institution, and we will grow. I know we will. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. For our second round of questions, again, we will have 2-minute responses, and this time we're going to change it up and catch your breath a second. Robert, we are going to start with you. And as we all know, today funding in education presents huge challenges. And so the question we have for you is, what are future sources of funding for the college? Robert?
Well, future sources are going to be, some of the existing sources. We have state aid, we have millages. We're going to, as I said, if we go for another millage campaign, we have to be very, very clear on what the community is getting for their $100 a year or whatever the millage converts out to for their home. Partnerships, not only they exist now, and we get great benefit. Ken highlighted all of the benefits that we get from the partnership with the automotive industry. Those sources of funding have to be explored, and just hate to use the cliche, and I hope nobody's playing buzzword bingo, but we have to think outside the box and trying to find all of the unique sources that we possibly can tap, because it's too important to let this organization flounder. It needs to continue to grow, and those three or four key things that I mentioned are really important.
Okay, thank you. Ellen?
Thank you. We're facing a problem that is not unique in this area and not in this country. Community colleges all over the country and companies are having a very difficult time as far as funding is concerned. So I think we have to be very strategic in our funding. We have, in the last 6 years, we have cut $5 million from this budget. It might not sound like a lot when you hear it on the TV, somebody's doing like $50, $60 million, but $5,000 has meant a lot to us. And we've had to cut back on a lot of programs. So I think we need to continue to look at ways that we can do things more effectively, and that is something that the trustees are very interested in doing. I still have to say that GRCC is a wonderful value. And even in these economic times, this is still a good bargain here at GRCC. It offers, to me, the greatest value in the state of Michigan. Because once we continue to retrain people, once we are able to respond very quickly, we will continue to get people into us. Now, there are three ways, and I know she's going to cut me off. There are three areas that we get our funding from. That is from state aid, property taxes, and tuition. And I've heard the words, the stimulus talked about for a few minutes. It appears that we're not going to get very much of the stimulus money. So we're still going to have to continue to be innovative. Now, you all know that state aid is going to be probably zero for us. We know that property taxes are going to go down. We already know that. We've already been informed. So tuition is the only area that we have. Now, are we going to raise tuition way over the sky? Absolutely not, because we do not want our students to carry the burden on their backs. So it is going to be up to us as a board to look at every avenue that we have to make sure that we are getting the best offer that we can.
Thank you. Okay. Yes. And next is Nadine.
Thank you. I think we are going to have to work more aggressively to get to fight for the state aid. We need to convince the people in Lansing that community colleges are the way to go in these hard economic times, to retrain the workforce and to build up our economy again from the students who attend Grand Rapids Community College. At this point, I don't think millages are a good idea. It was very frustrating, I know, when the 2 millages went down a couple years ago. I was a strong advocate for those millages. But you have to do with what happens. So I think in the short-term future, a millage is not an option. I think our citizens and our community just can't handle any more property taxes than they have. I think one way to go would be to develop more public-private partnerships and to somehow get the private sector involved in the community college and sponsor its various programs and make that a good working relationship. We already have a good partnership with many community organizations and businesses for the teaching and the training of our students. Now let's try to work on some more public-private partnerships for finances. I also think it's important, in looking at the funding source, as Ellen said, not to raise tuition if at all possible. Just like a millage, people can't afford that right now. People can't afford a tuition rate increase now. We do have a fantastic value for the money. I believe credit hour for residents is only $82.50 a credit hour, and you compare that to any university in the state, you're not going to get that same value. Thank you.
All right, next, Richard Ryskamp.
The college is truly in a difficult situation. As was mentioned before, the state subsidies seem like they're only going to go down. Property taxes are not going to go up. If the millage failed 2 years ago, it would certainly fail now with the economy having dropped so precipitously in the past year. The sad truth of the situation is that GRCC is located in a state and in a community that has become and is becoming increasingly impoverished, with record foreclosures, joblessness, loss of businesses. And higher taxes are not the way to fix that situation. For one reason, higher taxes lead to more businesses moving away and taking jobs with them. So tax increases are not a good option. I believe there are ways to increase funding. I think that voluntary giving would be something that could be explored. GRCC has done a lot of wonderful things for thousands, tens of thousands of graduates of the community college. And it would not be unfair to ask them to contribute back to society what has been contributed to them. Short of that, the options are not pretty. Cut spending, trying to do that without quality cuts. You just have to pick and choose what you do. Otherwise, raising tuition is the option no one wants to talk about, but you could raise tuition here and it would still be a bargain. Anyway, there's a difficult challenge for GRCC in the coming years. No doubt GRCC will rise to the occasion.
Okay, thank you. Next is Ken Smith.
Well, I would like to say right away that I feel that we should not, under any circumstances, raise the tuition if there's any other way we can provide the funds to operate our business. Like any other business, however, with the increase in enrollment that we have, it would seem logical to me that by increasing the enrollment, we should be able to reduce the price of the product. And by making better use of our facilities and keeping our enrollment up, increasing our enrollment, it seems to me that we should be able to experience some economy in that direction. I'm optimistic that we are going to be receiving some of that $100 billion that Arnie Duncan has said is going to be directed to the colleges to promote quality advancement in education. And of course, there's the $5 billion carrot on the stick that they're offering for those colleges that can show excellence, and I think that we certainly can show that excellence. But once again, I think I'm optimistic. I think that it's all going to work out. I think we'll find if we relate ourselves to the businesses that we teach to or teach for, they're going to contribute as they have in the past. That's how my program succeeded, was by getting a close relationship with the businesses that employed my students. And I see no reason, if we're teaching relevant courses here, that the same thing can't happen here. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Next is Richard Verburg.
I'm going to reiterate the public community partnerships bit for just a second with organizations in town, individuals, whatever we can do that saves money, you know, makes our dollars go further. But I think on the north end of our county and the communities on the north end of our county and the south end of our county, this year we met with the city officials in Walker. I think trustees, some of our administrative people, and some of our faculty experts in our disciplines, I think if we meet more with the city officials in the north and south of the county, it was noted at the Walker meeting that a lot of these people don't know all the offerings that community college has. And that is an opening for more community partnerships. The north and south ends of our counties are where we're the least known. But not only that, you know, with our close-in cities, not all the city council people know what's going on, and having meetings with the business people in those areas too, so that we can see what offerings the college can offer, and so they can learn what we have. And I think the trustees, administration, and like I said, our faculty experts in our disciplines, if we go to these meetings and meet with the people, city councils, county commissioners too, answer questions, there's openings that can occur. And I see that as an important area for future funding, for future development and partnership for GRCC.
All right, thank you. And lastly is Milinda.
Thank you. I do want to agree with the statements that GRCC is a great value for what is given here. I know that many times the college has been recognized for cutting-edge programs, student achievement, and other centers of excellence that we have here on campus. As I think about the future funding, this is a very tough situation. We all, obviously, you know, I'm still paying my student loan. And so those of you who move on to four-year universities or other programs, you know, I will be paying it for a long time, so I agree. I would hate to see tuition have to go up for students. I do think, that looking at the university, and I think the university does the college does a very good job of this, of sometimes in growth, things that have always been, or we've always done it. We talked about some new programs that are coming out. Sometimes things will go away so that something greater can come about. I see this in my own organization where I talked a little bit about the automotive segment of Cascade Engineering. And it's changing and it's decreasing, but it's helping fuel the growth in our renewable energy segment, which I just can't speak enough about that. It's very, very interesting, and I think it's going to be a real promising and key to success for this state and this region. So I think it'll be looking at budgets, looking at programs, and trying to say where is something that we shouldn't be doing anymore, and where is something that we can grow so that can create more revenue to do more things for the college, to do more things for students, to continue to provide that value. And once again, talking about looking at root causes, we talked about going to legislature and whatnot, and saying where are we spending our money, and is it smart to spend money at the end result, or should we spend the money up front on education? And secondly, I think the college has been doing a very good job. And I will just say thank you to Andy and the foundation, because I hear he's doing a good job.
Okay, thank you.
That's my stuff.
Thank you. For our third question, we'll change things up a little bit, and we'll start right in the middle with Richard Ryskamp, and we'll move to my right, and then we'll go back down to the other end. And for this question that I have for you is, if you are elected to the board, what do you see as that role? And in general, what is the role of the board in a policy governance model? Richard?
Thank you. The role of the board in the policy governance model. I give the board credit for having adopted this model, governing through policies and ends. This is a model that's been proven to be effective in many types of boards. And so I give the board credit for the wisdom of adopting it. And indeed, you don't have to look hard to see evidence for boards that aren't doing their job. These corporations that are going bankrupt as their executives are taking billion-dollar bonuses are examples of boards who are supposed to watch out for the needs of their shareholders, but aren't. On the other hand, there are boards that are micromanaging their CEO or president, or speaking individually to the administrators and making it hard for them to do their jobs. So, policy governance model is the happy medium between those two extremes. I look forward to working under that model. As far as the role of the trustees and the boards, I see the role as not only to ensure the well-being of the college, but also to ensure the well-being of the community, to see that the college is serving the community in the most effective way possible.
Thank you. Next, Nadine.
Thank you. I believe that policy governance is a great way for a board to govern the institution that they're serving. I think you need to let the experts do what they do best. I wouldn't know how to tell a biology teacher what to do or a performing arts teacher what to do, and I would not want to micromanage everything they would do. As the Kent County Board of Commissioners is a policy governance board, we had one employee, and that was our Daryl DeLabio, and I can't think of his title now. He's a comptroller. He was our one employee. He was the person in charge of the entire county and worrying about all the details. And that worked out very well, because then as the Board of Commissioners, we could look to the long-term goals. We could set the mission, vision, and values for the Board of Commissioners. And then we could look to Daryl and the staff to implement all the little details. I have a lot of experience with policy governance boards, and that's why I'm so supportive of them. As I mentioned, the Kent County Board of Commissioners is a policy governance board. Also with Network 180, the Community Mental Health Board, we were a very much of a policy governance board. Our employee was Paul Paul Ippel, the director of the Network 180, and we told him our mission and vision and values, and he made sure it got implemented throughout the organization. It allows the board to focus on long-term planning and long-term goals, and to clearly define what the mission, vision, and values are for the organization, and delegate the task of implementing the mission, vision, and values to those who are the experts. Thank you.
All right, next, Ellen.
I've worked under policy governance for some time, and I have to tell you, policy governance, when you first start out, is not easy, because you're very used to saying, like on some of the boards I sit on, they're not policy governance. So you're very used to people, saying, well, why don't you do this and why don't you do that? I learned with my other trustees that when you adopt it, you really truly have to follow it. Now, what is it? What do we do? First of all, we do hire the president. We evaluate the president. Hopefully there's never a need to eliminate the president, if you will, but that would be one of our jobs. We would hope that would never happen, because we've had wonderful presidents here. It is a group that will. It's a process where when you hire the president runs the organization. Certainly, the president will talk to you and have input, and certainly that person will sometimes take the information that you have. But it's so important that once you have adopted it, you absolutely have to follow it. Trustees have to help each other follow it, and we sometimes still have to do that on occasion. But it is a model that is, I would not want to be on a board or even work for someone who did not have this policy. I feel very strongly that we are the type of board that we are because of policy governance, and we once we listen to, our job is to listen to the citizens who elected us. It is up to us to listen to the employees, to listen to the faculty, and then we decide what ends we are going to put together that would best suit the needs of this organization. And I'm very proud that we do have policy governance. I love it.
Okay, thank you. Next, Robert.
Well, you've all had a introduction to the policy governance model, and I just want to say that it worked well in the Wyoming Public Schools. I also serve on the board of Kent County Girls on the Run, which is a total voluntary organization. And that board is a working board. We do everything. And the policy governance model for an organization of this size is the only way to go. I've said in a couple of board meetings already, and there's so many things that can just be, they have a consent agenda. Things are passed because we have to pass them. There are things that come up for board consideration. They're talked about, they're discussed, their input is received from the experts, and that's a great thing about the board. They just oversee the experts, and as has been pointed out, provide the direction for the whole organization. But the key thing for board members is that they are servants to the community. Their title is trustee. The people trust us. They put that trust in us, and we need to focus on serving them through building this organization to a better organization.
Okay, thank you. And down to Milinda.
Thank you. I think the policy governance model, as I said, we've gotten a great introduction, those of us who are candidates here with the college. And I think it's really important to know that, everybody's say is allowed and discussion is allowed and conflict is okay. And I think that's hard sometimes to say conflict is okay, and I might not agree with you, but as was said before, but once you fall in line, you support the decision. I don't recall ever hearing or seeing anything about the Board of Trustees, this Board of Trustees, having issues. And let's be honest, there have been some boards out there that you've heard quite a bit about. And so I think that says a lot, because it says, you know what, we're going to do our work, we're going to evaluate each other's opinions, we're going to say conflict is okay, we're going to look to each other for innovation, creativity, and insight, but we are going to have a unified voice that represents the college, that represents the students, to create a better organization so we can achieve that mission that was put out there. So thank you.
All right. Richard.
Policy governance model goes back to the early 1970s when it originally came about by Dr. Carver. Our three, we call them our founding trustees that came on in 91, Jan Mangini, Ellen James, and Terry Hanlon were the ones that really got us on this model. Now, the current ends we have for the college kind of actually came from the employees, the faculty of the college. But make no mistake, the trustees can change the ends of the college if they so desire. And with a new trustee coming on, a new president, we're going to have to take a look at the ends real closely. We dig in deep to that and study it deeply. But I think the 7 ends are good ends, and they'll probably be kept, but just refined. Under policy governance, a board can synthesize the community's diverse values, define common elements, and allow the broadest opportunity for success. The accountability for the ends is charged personally to the president. And we judge the president on his progress towards the ends of the college. That's how we evaluate him. What evidence does he have? What has he done to advance the college in terms of each end? We take a look at that. That's our evaluation of the president.
All right. And our last candidate, Ken Smith.
Well, I too endorse the governance policy that the college uses. The fact that they're able to make decisions based on input from the president and perhaps some department heads is good, but one of the reasons that I've announced my candidacy for the board is that my area of expertise is an area of education that I think the college probably will expand on: job training, job retraining. And as a member of the board, I will be, because of the vast experience I have in this area, I will be able to edit, examine, and perhaps criticize the information that's being fed to the board that they have to make their decisions upon. I have the expertise to do that. I can make accurate assessments of information coming in that particular area. So I really think I'm a perfect fit for the board right at this point. Thank you.
Okay. I want to take a moment and thank all of our candidates for addressing these 3 issues. And now we are going to be taking questions from our audience. I know many of you have been passing questions down the rows. If you continue to have questions, go ahead and do that, and I will be asking questions to our candidates. This time around, it'll be 1-minute responses, so continue to watch for that, and you do not necessarily have to respond to a question. Some of them will be for all of you, and some of them will be for specific candidates. So if you choose not to answer, you can say pass. That's fine. And we'll start right up here with you, Robert, for the first one. Okay? Remember to speak directly into the mic. You're doing a great job. All right, our first question. Did you vote in either of the GRCC millage elections? And if so, do you support millages? Why or why not?
Yes, I did vote in the millage elections every time, even in the local school districts in Wyoming when I lived there and now in Grand Rapids. I voted in favor of those millage elections because, as I said earlier, the return on investment of education and on those, I don't want to make light, especially in this economic times, but the millages, 1 mil or half a mil, is a small investment in the community for every homeowner. And the return on investment is so great. So yes, every millage, I voted yes, and I will continue to do so.
Ellen?
Yes. I voted since I was 18 years old. And I've only missed 1 vote, and I purposely did not vote in that election for a reason. When we established ourselves in 1991, we set aside a 1.9 millage. And, of course, with the Headley, that's down to, help me, Bob, 1777777 something. So we've lost money over the years. I believe that because we had not had a millage since we had become a community college, we decided that we had to go out for the millage. We put it, and we didn't do it on a snap basis. We had a blue ribbon committee that worked with us for 5 years, and they did a number of things to help us get ready for that. The millage did not pass. I do support the millages. I do support us going out, but I'll have to say that it is not time for us to go out in the near future. The time is not right. So that's why we have to be innovative and do everything that we can to get the work done by not having 1,000 students excluded from coming to this college.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nadine.
Thank you. I voted in both of the millages, and I voted yes for both of the millages. And as a Kent County Commissioner, I publicly supported the millages and had my name on all sorts of millage literature that said I was a public official publicly supporting the millage. I've also supported other school millages. I think education, all the way from early childhood development through higher education, is extremely important. It is the most important thing we can do for our future and for our grandchildren and their grandchildren. So I generally support education millages. I think with a millage, you need to be extremely careful what you ask for, how much you ask for. There was a Grand Rapids public school millage that was very, very large when I believe it was Grotsky was the superintendent, and that failed horribly because they were just asking for too much, I think. So you have to be careful what you ask for and also the timing of the millage. Last year, the Board of Commissioners did a jail renewal millage, and there was a lot of discussion on when to put that millage on the ballot. So timing is everything.
Thank you. All right, Richard.
Yes, I will make myself very unpopular in this room and tell you that I voted no on both millages, and I encouraged others to vote no. And it's not that I'm against education, and it's not that I'm against taxes, but I think that before you go to the public and ask for a tax increase, you should not then be pursuing certain policies which are offensive to large segments of the county. And I don't have time in 1 minute to talk about what those are, but I'd be happy to talk about it if I get more minutes later.
All right, thank you. Ken.
Well, I support sufficient millage to operate our educational institutions. I did not vote for it in either of the elections. I vote in all elections, and I voted no both times. I felt the timing was wrong, and the explanation for the increase did not warrant an increase. Thank you.
Okay, Richard.
I voted yes on both millages, and part of the study when we did the millages showed that community college, a study by economist, was producing a rate of return quite a bit higher than the stock market returns that people get. And so a third of community college, roughly, is supported by the millage. Now, the near future isn't the time for a millage increase, but as I said earlier, down the line, it may be a possibility, but we need to make better connections with people on the north and south end of the county, the business people there, and see what their needs are and meet their needs more. I think that's going to be a key sometime in the future when a millage is something possible.
Okay, and Milinda.
I too voted yes. I was active in my own way. I think I remember it being a devastating loss to those involved under the leadership of past President Olivares. I think it was done well, and it was unfortunate that was lost. And I just as we talked before, I think we will need to, and I think the college is realistic to say we need to look at all additional sources of funding, and that the trustees have a very specific role in that as well.
Okay, thank you. Our next question is addressed specifically to Mr. Ryskamp. And the question is, are you running for the board specifically to remove protection and support of gay students, staff, and faculty from school policies?
I favor protection of all students, and I believe that all protection for all students should be continued at all times.
Okay, thank you. The next question, and we'll start down with Milinda at that end. Again, 1 minute responses. Should GRCC buy Davenport's downtown campus for expansion?
I only have 1 minute, whoever put that question in. I think, as with any decision, there needs to be a series of due diligence done, and I have to admit I'm not up to speed on this issue. I think it's very exciting to look at the downtown area, see the growth of Grand Valley State University, and think how we can grow, and hopefully, a candidate forum like this in the next term will be larger, and maybe we'll have new facilities. So, as with any decision, due diligence is very important in bringing those right individuals in.
Okay. Next, Richard.
What question? Or
Oh, the question was, should we purchase the Davenport campus?
okay, this will be a decision of the Board of Trustees. I'm a candidate at this point, and if the deal is a good one, I don't think we're going to be able to find a time when we get a better as far as the cost of it. So I think it'd be, the times are hard, but yet we got to think about the long run, I feel. And that's a space that's close to the rest of the campus. It's quite available to people, on a main road, and I just feel that that would be a valuable asset to the college if a good deal is developed and the board chooses. I'd be for it myself.
All right, thank you. Ken.
Well, I would certainly agree with the purchase of Davenport, providing that we do need the facilities for the programs that we are involved with. If we're buying it to take over the programs that Davenport works with, I'm not so sure about that. I would need to know more, need more information on that. As far as the facilities, if they can be purchased correctly, I would advocate that, yes.
Okay, Richard.
Yeah, it would certainly seem to me to be an attractive piece of real estate, and but I think it'd be very presumptuous to give a knee-jerk response and say, yes, we should buy it, or no, we should not buy it. We need to know what we're going to do with it, and the price, too. I mean, you can't say you're going to buy something until you know what the asking price is.
All right, thank you. Nadine.
Thank you. I think I would like to see studies on how the spaces are going to be used, how much of the space we would need now, and what the future growth of the space is. I think it's a great idea to use that space for the community college if it's viable, because downtown revitalization is very important, and I certainly wouldn't want to see that space go vacant or anything like that in the long term. Again, I would need to see the price, though, as well, and if it's not a good value and it's not going to make sense financially for us to buy it, and also for programs and future growth, then I would say no, but if it does make sense, then I would say yes.
Okay, thank you. Ellen.
This is a decision that this board will have to make, and either we will buy it or we won't buy it. I would just say that I'll just give you some upsides of what I think. I think that the possibilities are absolutely great for Davenport, because I think it gives us a connection to the in this particular area. We've got the Michigan Mile, which is medical. We've got we've got education, which would be us. We've got citizens that live in that community who want us to be there, and we have a lot of businesses that are moving into that area. So for me, it would be presumptuous of me to say whether it was going to happen or not, and I'm just being very guarded because I don't want to get out in front of the rest of the 6 trustees. But those are my positives. Thank you.
All right, Robert.
Well, it's a board decision. I mean, the board's going to have to do their work and investigate the costs, the benefits, the return on investment. And, it's, I could say yes, yeah, I probably would, but if I was elected and some other information came up, somebody would go back and look at this tape and says, Bennett said he'd vote for it, but now he voted no. So, the board has to do the job. The board has to do their job. They need to find out all the benefits, and then once the board has made that decision, I would support it.
Okay, Robert, we're going to start with you on the next question. It's a little bit longer. Are there any examples of GRCC's support for academic freedom and diversity which have caused concern for you? Please explain why and how you intend to use your position on the board as regards to these examples.
Could you read it one more time, please?
Okay, I will. All right. Are there any examples of GRCC support for academic freedom and diversity which have caused concern for you? Okay, that's academic freedom and diversity. Please explain why and how you intend to use your position on the board as regards to those specific situations.
Simple answer is no. My board position, how I'd use my board position one way or the other is just simply to look at what's best for the college in all the policies, and then as the board votes, I would support the board vote in that area. I guess I can't answer the question of how I would change anything because there's nothing I'm aware of that caused me any concern. So.
Okay, thank you. And Ellen?
The 17 years that I have been here, I cannot, I have to say no, that we have not made any academic freedom decisions or academic decisions in diversity that I can recall. I think it's important to know that having the policy governance model, you are going to look at all of those things and put them all together. And we have tried to think of every possibility in terms of setting policy for certain things. So I think the trustees, my seven colleagues have done. My 6 colleagues, I'm the 7th. My 6 colleagues have done a good job in responding to that.
All right, Nadine.
I'm not familiar enough with all the various programs and things that have occurred at the college over the years. However, I think college is a place to learn different issues, learn all sides of issues. So I think it's very important to have academic freedom and diversity. As a board member, I would not use my position to push a personal agenda or a moral agenda or anything like that. I don't think that's appropriate. There might be some programs or things that I might not personally agree with, but I think you learn more and your position on various issues become more important to you when you hear all sides of the see all sides of the story and all sides of the argument, because challenging your beliefs is very important, I believe, to either make you change your beliefs or to cement your beliefs. And I think as a policy governance board, it's not our place to dictate specific programs and things like that. I think that's what we delegate to the president and then let the president make those decisions.
Okay, thank you. Richard?
2 years ago, I became concerned about an event that happened here at the community college. A daughter, 18 years old, of a friend of mine was in an English class, freshman English class, and they were going to watch an R-rated movie, and she asked to be excused, given an alternative assignment, and she said no, that she had to watch the film or take a failing grade because it would be good for her. And I think that reflects a lack of respect for diversity. We do have people in our community who don't believe that it's good to watch movies with nudity and sex acts and so on. And I've been disappointed that the community college has even call this issue an issue of academic freedom. It's an issue of diversity that people don't want to watch R-rated movies. They shouldn't have to. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Ken?
Well, our college really's duty is to serve the community, and our community is very diverse, absolutely diverse. And we need to adjust our way of dealing with this in such a fashion that we don't insult anyone. I believe the college's policy in my book at this point has been just right. Thank you.
Okay, Richard?
I'm in favor of academic freedom for the faculty. And I think on some of the issues of sexuality and some of the other issues that a young person needs to reflect on such topics because it's part of the world, it's part of their life. And so I am for academic freedom. And, you know, as far as any of the plays or maybe movie assignments, I understand some of the people's feelings, but I think a young person needs to look at these things and think about it as an educated person in today's society. Now, on a personal level, did anything bother me? Only one was the play about Jesus Christ on the personal level, and I'd feel the same. I said at the time, I feel the same way about religious figures, because and not to knock anybody here, a lot of people are religious, but religious figures I'm touchy on, whether it's Jesus, Buddha, or Mohammed. But I'll just leave it at that. And a lot of people around the world are touchy on those subjects.
All right, Milinda?
I have not come into any contact, and I feel that I've been at different events, mostly open to the community, which the college always encourages, and I do see, and that's where my desire to run was seeing those trustees be at different events and seeing their commitment there. And I will go, as some other people have stated, it's the policy governance model, and I don't think that would be our place at that point.
Okay, thank you. The next question's a little bit shorter, so we can probably do this one in 30 seconds, I would think. So we'll get a few more questions in. No.
What if we didn't use our time up from the last?
Oh, you don't have a 30-second? You do. Okay, all right. Nadine, we'll start in the middle here. We're going to mix it up, and then we'll move to my right. Are you a GRCC Foundation donor?
No, I'm not.
Okay. And if you care to explain or elaborate, you may, or you don't necessarily have to.
I donate to a lot of community organizations, to our school, to our church, and I donate a lot of items to like the Women's Resource Center, Pregnancy Resource Center, In the Image, that type of thing. At GRCC, not having a direct contact with the college until hopefully now has not hit the radar as something to donate to.
Okay, thank you. Ellen?
Yes.
Yes.
I am. And I'm very pleased to be. And I have to tell you, our foundation has just grown tremendously. And I am so proud of the work that we're doing with our foundation. And we're aggressively asking. And one of the things our new president has said, I'm not afraid to ask people for money. So we look forward to our foundation growing even more. We had an open door campaign of which we raised over $11 million, and we're starting to bring people into our foundation that we haven't previously asked before.
Great. Okay, Robert.
No, I'm not currently. My focus, I said, I'm on the board of Kent County Girls on the Run, and my United Way pledge goes to them right now.
Okay, we'll head back down to the other end, Milinda.
I don't believe that I've given to the Grand Rapids Community College Foundation. I know I have given my personal time to the college in the form of the Latino Youth Conference, where I do take my own vacation day to be a part of that special event. And I was telling Aaron Sisler in one of the departments, I've never got a personal ask, which I think is also important, which goes back to the work that the foundation is doing to try to build up that mailing list and those potential donors.
You probably will now. Okay, thank you. Richard.
The question once more?
Are you a GRCC Foundation donor?
Yes. I pledge every month, yes.
Every month.
I have a gift I give every month,
Okay.
just like the church.
Thank you. And Ken?
I have in the past, I haven't currently, but I intend to in the near future.
All right. And Richard?
I'm a contributor to the community college itself, hundreds of dollars per year taxes. I have not supplemented that with contributions to the foundation. I would say after having seen some of the uses for the money by the foundation, I'm glad that I have not. But maybe that could be another question at some point.
All right. The next question, why don't we start with you, Ken, on this one, all right? Okay, new question, and this one's probably a minute question again. Okay, what level of commitment to sustainability do you have personally, and can you ensure support for green jobs, renewable energy, and the environment foremost? I can. All right. What level of commitment to sustainability do you have personally, and can you ensure support for green jobs, renewable energy, and the environment foremost?
Well, the automobile has gotten a large amount of blame for the lack of green environment that we have. And of course, as a person who has taught emission control and that sort of thing with automotive technology, I am definitely in favor of it. I was in favor of state inspection of all vehicles for emissions, which almost got into effect, except our dear governor at the time vetoed the whole thing at the last moment. So I'm very much in favor of a green environment and anything we can do automotive-wise to help us.
Okay. Richard?
I've always been a enthusiastic advocate for the environment, recycling, and so on. I would invite you to come into our garage, and my wife would be happy to show you the active recycling that is going on there. We also are enthused about the future of alternative energy and the environment, and our family has put our money where our mouth is. That's where a lot of our investments are. And if the community college can do anything to further alternative energy or the environment, I'm all in favor of it.
Okay. Nadine?
I'm a recycling maniac. I was a member of the Public Works Board as a county commissioner, and we dealt with recycling. One of the first things I asked at one of my first meetings was, why can't we recycle styrofoam? We use all the styrofoam, and it's not recyclable. Styrofoam drives me crazy. I bring my own water to work. I have my cloth bags at Meijer, and I get really upset if I leave them in the car, and I usually go out and get them instead of using paper or plastic. We have all the high energy efficiency bulbs in our house. Our kids are involved in recycling. When I cleaned out my basement and got rid of some old college textbooks, I looked very hard to find a place where I could recycle them and found one. So I think sustainability and taking care of our environment is extremely important, and I think it's the way of our future.
Okay. Thank you. Ellen?
I do support it, and also the college supports it. We have a staff person who works in this particular field, and we have an ongoing commitment to sustainability and environmental integrity. If you go to the Heritage restaurant, you will see what we're doing in this area. It's a beautiful site, and I encourage all of you to do that. On a personal level, like Nadine, I'm just getting into it, but I'm changing the bulbs because they last longer and that costs me less money. I haven't gotten rid of the bottled water yet, but I'm kind of thinking about perhaps as I hear more about the savings that I should be doing some things like that. So I'm personally committed to that. And as I said, at the college level, we're doing something about it.
All right. And Robert?
Personally, yes, I am involved in sustainability and green initiatives. The previous house that we lived in had a passive solar heater on it. I'm also been investigating the zoning for adding either a windmill or solar to the house I'm at now. We recycle, replacing with the fluorescents, and we're just going forward that way because I have grandkids. I want this earth to be there for them and their kids and their grandkids as well, so I'm committed.
All right. Back down to Milinda.
Well, Bob, Cascade Engineering has a Swift wind turbine that we'd love to sell you. So let's talk after this. But I did allude to sustainability in my opening statement. I hope you all do remember that. And actually, I'm very involved at Cascade Engineering. Talked about Fred, and great man. Won't talk about him so much more, but talk about myself here. The whole sustainability initiative is what is going to keep my organization that I work in to keep going, and I'm part of that, of our Quest Sustainable Solutions Consulting Group, and that's actually the meeting that I was at before I came here today, looking at new business. And I think there's so many exciting possibilities here for students who attend to work on maybe products or innovation to create cradle-to-cradle product services to help our environment.
All right, and Richard.
Your question again this time?
This is regarding the green buying green and sustainability. What's your involvement in that?
My involvement in that, or my view on that, is it's a wise thing to do. The Grand Rapids is a leader in that, and I think it's good that we keep going in that direction. It's the way of the future. Save energy and keep the planet sustained. Yeah, I'm for.
Okay, thank you. This is our last question, and this one was initially directed towards Dr. Ryskamp, but we would like everyone to respond to this question. So, Dr. Ryskamp, you can take the question first, and then Nadine, you can take the question second. Okay? You have been an outspoken critic of GRCC. How would you reconcile your criticism of GRCC's faculty with your personal values? Do you need to hear that again?
Yeah, could you read it again?
All right. You have been an outspoken critic of GRCC. How would you reconcile your criticism of GRCC's faculty with your personal values?
I have criticized some of the things that have happened at the community college, but I'd point out that you only criticize things that you care about, that you're hoping that you can make a difference in. And I believe that the community college does a wonderful work. The faculty does a wonderful work. I think that there are a few exceptional events that happen now and then that would be better if they did not happen. And I do not think that having leveled criticism on a small part of the operations of an organization disqualifies one from being involved in that organization.
All right, thank you. Nadine?
Thank you. I'll just speak generally of being critical of an organization because I don't have any personal experience in that. I think when you're on a board of an organization, it's extremely important to not be afraid to disagree, as Milinda mentioned, but you need to speak with one voice. After all the discussing and all the and the decision has been made, within the last year and a half, we had some issues on one of the boards I was chair of, where one of the individuals was an outspoken critic of board decisions, and he would talk about the board as them instead of we. And as chair, I had to deal with that and try to address that problem, and it was a very, very frustrating problem. The board speaks with one voice, and there's room for disagreement, but once the decision is made, whether you win the vote or lose the vote, you need to speak with the one voice.
Okay, thank you. Ellen?
17 years I've been here. I don't recall I've had a real big fight with any of the the employees. I think we've worked well. I think the tension, perhaps the most tension, probably comes at negotiation time. But I think I'm pleased to say that over the years we have really been able to work through that, and I think that's the credit of our leadership and also the faculty and our other negotiation teams working together. I would like to echo what Nadine has just said in terms of speaking for one voice. Our board has one voice, and you don't hear, Nardi is never able to get a comment from me if I'm not the chair. And that was by design. We do not want 10 people speaking on 10 different issues. So it is kept us together by having one voice speak on an issue. Now, if anything that I say at the board table can certainly be picked up and it can be quoted, but if it's an official matter, it is spoken with one voice, and that voice is the chair. And that has worked tremendously for our trustees.
All right, thank you. Robert?
If there was an issue that I was critical of, or faculty or whatever, and I was on the board, it would be a board issue. It would not be a Bob Bennett issue. It would be a board issue. We would work through it. I would raise my concerns and work through it in the board meetings, and we would come to a consensus, and that would be it. If the board decided my way, I'd say, yay, I won. But if they decided against me, I would say, I'm here to serve the people of Grand Rapids and Kent County. I'm here to serve this community, and I will abide by the decision that's made and go forward and support it.
All right. Milinda?
I said it before in another question. I think conflict is good. We all have different ideas. We're all different people. I want to hear other people's points of view. I might not have had an experience that they may have had. And just going back to that policy governance model. Thank you.
All right. Richard?
Yes, I agree that the board has to come together at some point, and some of these issues that come up, we just have to say this is a board decision, and if you see it differently, that's it. The board spoke, and that's just the way it is.
Okay, and we'll end with Ken.
Well, as a member of the Board of Trustees, I would be contributing my own opinion, knowledge, and experience, and hopefully coming to an agreement with the rest of the board to come up with one voice and one opinion about whatever matter comes before us.
All right, thank you. And I would like right now for all of us to show our appreciation to the candidates for sharing so openly. Thank you so much. I'm sure they'll stay after to take any of your questions that you may have. I also want to take this moment to thank all of you for coming, and to thank you for the Academic Governing Council, for the Student Congress, and for the Faculty Association for sponsoring this event. Enjoy your evening.